Hi, and thanks for tuning in to This Week in East Brunswick, East Brunswick's own magazine-style news and information program. Today we'll visit the DAISY program, a unique township facility for the handicapped and disabled, and we'll learn about their approach to education through recreation. Vic Romatowski will be outdoors in East Brunswick with information on local wildlife, this week focusing on raccoons. Our regular features will include Ken Shalhoop's health facts and tips on curbing bone-weakening osteoporosis, Consumer Aware with Adrian Eisner and suggestions for selecting a watch, and our Township Council review. Before we get to these features, here's a look at next week's Channel 8 schedule. Our Cablecast week begins with Look Great, Feel Great, Monday at 10 a.m. Lenore Kulik presenting Part 1 of Make Your Own Exercise video for women. Target at 10:30 features Paula Durant's interview with Township Director of Planning and Community Development, William Tanner. Tuesday evening at 7:30, Let's Talk Health features a discussion of trends in allergy treatment with Dr. Yehuda Barsel and host Ken Shalhoop. You and Your Money follows at 8 with information on homeowners and auto insurance from Paul Hansen and guests Ralph Salveson and Ed Makovac. Wednesday evening at 7:30, Spotlight on Education walks you through a day in the life of a 6th grader, taped at Frost School. And we'll be back next Thursday at 7 and 8 with more local news and information on This Week in East Brunswick. Please watch our Channel 8 schedule for repeat showings of all these programs. One of East Brunswick Township's most unique and special programs is the DAISY Recreation Program, known to many as Camp DAISY, which has come to signify quality service for the handicapped and disabled, both in the community and in the region. It was begun in the early 60s by a parents group, the East Brunswick Association for Brain-Injured Children. The program flourished, moved into what is now Dallenbach's Nature Center, and quickly outgrew it. It is presently housed at Bicentennial Park, where we spoke to program coordinator Fred Smith and manager of recreation Karen Burke about the DAISY program. I asked Fred about the emphasis of the summer program.
We're trying to give the children an opportunity to experience as much as they can, successes and little steps to give them a feeling of accomplishment. Their own self-worth is enhanced. Give them an opportunity to grow, to experience all that the child who's not handicapped or disabled can experience in a positive setting with staff that's very concerned and loves them.
We were out taping some of the activities. Maybe we could talk about a few of them. The tennis program, who teaches it? Where does it take place?
Well, during the summer we have tennis at the community park, East Brunswick's community park. Debbie Grossman is a member of our staff and a rather competent tennis instructor. She's teaching the children on an individual basis. She takes them in groups of 4 or 5 for an hour at a time, and after assessing their abilities, emphasizes the skills that are necessary, and then she and the staff are reinforcing them. During the winter, we use the park here, Bicentennial, until the frost starts, yes, until the tennis nets go down, and then we'll shift to an indoor facility.
Okay, while we're talking about that program, I'm wondering how you develop a specific program. What steps do you go through?
It's an interesting concept. About 4 years ago, Fred and I wanted to introduce new things and without making a full budget commitment. So what we decided to do was to go to 4 or 6 week programs and see whether or not they flew, if it was acceptable, if we could reach a certain clientele that we have, which participants we could really have successes with. And then the following program, we would implement it. We've had some, this is one of the ways that tennis was started originally. Our swim program, our canoe program, boating program, we've had a lot of programs start like that, sewing, etc., all the way down the line, to give the kids a good cross-section of what's available in daily living skills. And we like to concentrate on abilities, not disabilities, and every kid has abilities, and we need to find them on an individual basis and then enhance them.
What do you mean by education through recreation?
Well, through different means. For instance, if we grow a garden and have food grown, we bring it inside, and the home economists would teach the children how to not only cook the food, but by virtue of how not only to cook it, but what colors are in the food, so that it becomes a teaching mechanism in a very simplified form. As their awareness goes up, so does the education levels of what we do.
You also have to gear your program to the individual, I guess. It has to be very flexible.
extremely flexible, and that's one of the difficult parts of hiring staff for Daisy, because we never exactly know with a whole lot of lead time what type of disabilities we're going to have, and we have to be flexible thereupon. For instance, you could have a 4-to-1 ratio, and then in one instance and another instance you may have to have 2 counselors to 1 kid. And so volunteers become very, very critical to us in order to sustain the program sometimes.
Okay, you mentioned the swimming program. We also have footage of that. Where does that take place, and who are your instructors at the swimming?
Okay. Kim Rogers is the swimming specialist for our program. She is the person who teaches the members of our staff who have the ability to become advanced life-saving certificate holders so that they themselves can staff the beach during the summer. She's responsible for assessing the abilities of the individuals and ensuring that the balance of the staff give the children experience and practice in developing those skills. And so she constantly will be checking and monitoring. You'll see her move from child to child for brief periods of time to give them the experiences that she feels is necessary. And we've seen a lot of nice things happen. Children who have been afraid of the water. We used to measure the success by the height of the watermark on the bathing suit. These children are in the water now. Children who are fearful are not fearful anymore. She's got a very calm and positive manner, and definitely an asset to the program.
Your counselors seem very dedicated. What does it take to be a Daisy program counselor?
Well, minimum age is 16. There really is no upper limit. Very honestly, they have to have a desire to work with the handicapped. They have to be flexible enough to take instruction and suggestions. They have to be concerned for the growth of individuals. They want to see successes take place. If you give us basic individuals who have a good heart and a good head and exceptionally good legs, fast on their feet, they have the makings of good staff. And we've seen a lot of nice things happen with the staff. They've developed into people who will, on an average, give over 120% of themselves to the program.
And they come back year after year.
That they do, I'm most happy to say. I wish they could all come back, but that would be like keeping them as Peter Pan. We can't do that. They grow up and continue on, but a little piece of us will always be with them, just as a little piece of the staff will remain with us and make us better for it.
We also taped the boating taking place. While we watched that footage, maybe you could talk about some of the other special programs that you have in the summer.
Well, we have nature. Mary Beth Decker is our nature specialist. She's got the kids involved in camping. We've gone canoeing on the Millstone River. We'll be taking a group rafting on the Delaware next week. She's involved in fishing here in Farrington Lake. The garden is hers. She is exceptionally competent. It's something which the children feel very comfortable with. She has a very comfortable manner and ease and style in getting the information across to the participants and making them appreciate the need for working with nature and preserving it and such.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we also taped the buses. I noticed that the bus was from the Board of Education. Do you get a lot of support from the municipality, the township?
Most definitely. Board of Education is kind enough to provide to us approximately 6 vehicles for a year at basically no cost. It's just a token. Gas for the vans, which is quite a bit at times. During the winter, we'll fill our gas tanks at the police department. During the summer, we'll gas up and get repairs at Public Works. This is one of the few instances to my knowledge, in the town where all of the divisions, all the parts of the town work together for a common good. In this case, we've never been refused a thing. I mean, it's an exceptionally supportive town. The town is unique in that out of our tax levy funds, the DAISY program exists and flourishes and will continue to grow.
And Karen, I guess you get a lot of support also from the community at large.
Very definitely. There are monetary donations, volunteers, people that want to come up and see Daisy. We tell them that one of the stipulations is they must wear sneakers, because you walk through the door, you must be a worker. And it's amazing how many people get hooked. Working with the handicapped is scary to many people, and it's not everybody's cup of tea. And we're very aware of that, and we have to be flexible with regards to volunteers and staff inclusive of those facts so that we can be flexible to help them grow also. So it's a very interesting and exciting program to be part of, really.
If I can just add, it's interesting to know that the support is not just from organizations and groups within the town. From within the town, we've had the Women's Club of East Brunswick. The East Brunswick Elks are kind enough to let us use their pool during the summer for our swimming instruction program in the afternoons. The Milltown JCs and JCettes contributed money. It goes beyond the boundaries of the township. We also have a rather, to say the least, supportive Parents Association, the Brain Injured Children's Association, which provides financial support, emotional support. They provided funds for us to take a group of children to Washington for 3 days and 2 nights. We took another group to the Amish country in Pennsylvania for an overnight. Trips such as these were impossible years ago. At this point, we're able to do things such as that because of the generosity of the parents. It's a very concerned group of people, and we're most appreciative for their support.
To sum up, where does the DAISY program go from here? Have you reached your capacity?
I don't think we have. In numbers of people, we can take more in. It just seems that there's a larger population in the township that hasn't as of yet availed themselves of the program.
Who are you looking for, and how would they get in touch with you?
Well, for information on the Saturday programs, which will be in the fall, the winter, and the spring, or the summer programs, they can contact the Division of Recreation and ask for information, and it will be sent to them. And we'll take it from there.
Okay, thank you very much, both of you.
Hi, I'm Vikram Matowski, Deputy Conservation Officer for the State of New Jersey, Division of Fish and Game. I'd like to speak to you for a few minutes today about an animal that's very common to the East Brunswick area. That animal is the raccoon. Regardless of how much building goes on in East Brunswick, the raccoons seem to be moving in with us. Instead of moving out of the areas, such as this when the development goes on, they are learning ways to live with us. Those ways are rather unique. They can enter into our homes through our fireplaces. They raid our garbage cans at night. They don't have to live in large, hollow trees like you see here. Raccoons can inhabit old groundhog holes, and one thing that they enjoy very much is the cool brickwork of a masonry-type fireplace. Unless you have a spark arrestor or some type of metal netting on your fireplace, there is a good chance that you will have a raccoon or an entire raccoon family move into your fireplace. This generally occurs during the summer months, such as now. People won't find out about it until the fall when they go to light their fireplace and suddenly find out that their flue is blocked. Another way that they can find out is when they go to open their damper on their fireplace, there's some pressure up above pushing it down. Or they might hear some small squeals from inside. These are the raccoons. If you open your hearth far enough, they can enter your home. They can be extremely vicious. They're fun to watch. They're extremely inquisitive, and they're very creative. The animals range in an area from Canada down to Mexico, out to the west coast, and all the way across the east coast. They're trapped for their furs. They're hunted by hunters with dogs. Furs will bring in a price of anywhere from $7 to $11 in winter. Last year, trappers took approximately 32,000 raccoons from the state of New Jersey. And that may seem like it's an awful lot. And 32,000 is a large number. However, given the population of raccoons in the state of New Jersey, it puts a small dent into the population. The animal has become an urban animal, whereas it doesn't have to travel backwood trails like these. Their new highway seems to be the storm sewer drain system within the township of East Brunswick. They can travel underneath our streets without ever coming out into the open. They'll come up through the catch basin openings alongside the road. If you put your trash out at night and find that the plastic bags are ripped open the next morning, It's not necessarily from your neighbor's dog or cat. It can be from a raccoon. They will pop your garbage can lids if you don't have them tightly secured, knocking them over and scavenging for whatever they can find. A raccoon will eat almost anything, anything from fish, frogs, birds' eggs, small mammals, snakes. Whatever a raccoon can get its hands on is what it will eat. One thing that many people think is that all raccoons have to wash their food before they eat. This is not necessarily so. Okay? It's something that comes back from their ancestral days when majority of the area that they inhabited were along waterways. These animals then came up with this habit of rubbing their food together and washing it, or at least it seems that way. Some people say what they're doing is actually softening their food before they do decide to eat it. Some ways you can tell if you have a raccoon in your area, other than your garbage can, is up on your roof. If you go up on your roof at all and try to clean your gutters out and you find that it looks like there's an animal up there that has left some droppings for you, and it seems to have a lot of hair or foreign material in it, or seeds from berries, it's a good chance that a raccoon is traversing your roof sometime during the night. You might not hear them, however, they will leave their droppings. If you do come across one, and the animals seem to be listless, and they don't have much movement to them, or they back up and growl and snarl at you rather than try to flee, it's a good possibility that the animal has distemper. If you do come across an animal like this, contact police headquarters so that the animal control officer can respond and pick the animal up. If you do have children and you find an animal that seems to be begging for food, do not let your children go out to try to feed the animal. Observe him from a distance and enjoy him. Give him room, and he'll be with us for a long time. Thank you, and we'll see you again out back here somewhere looking for some more animals. Thank you.
Milk curbs osteoporosis. Osteoporosis is the bone weakening in postmenopausal women. It doesn't occur in all of them, but it occurs in a surprisingly large amount. Well, it seems that a few extra 8-ounce glasses of skim milk daily may be better than calcium supplements for postmenopausal women, a new study indicates. Robert Becker and Robert Heaney of Creighton University School of Medicine in Omaha, Nebraska, compared the two in a year-long study of 22 healthy postmenopausal women. In the February American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, they report that milk retards bone loss as effectively as carbonate supplements. Moreover, unlike the supplements, it does not suppress bone renewal, which sometimes does occur with the calcium carbonate supplement. Becker says his research shows that bone loss can be halted in postmenopausal women consuming about 1,500 milligrams of calcium daily. However, he adds, that's far more than most women get. 1/4 of all adult white women in this country get 300 milligrams per day or less, he says. And the median dietary intake for women in adult life is close to 500 milligrams, well below the current recommended daily allowance of 800 milligrams. So, per this article, my advice to postmenopausal women, drink milk, it's good for you. Thanks for watching. See you next week.
Hello, and welcome to Consumer Aware. I'm Adrienne Eisner of the East Brunswick Consumer Affairs Office. Today we're going to be talking about purchasing a new watch. Whether you are buying a watch to last a lifetime or a year, you probably will be able to choose more easily if you understand some descriptive terms that are used in the industry. Watches fall into two categories, mechanical and electronic. Mechanical watches with hour and minute hands and a winding stem have been around for about 5 centuries. The newer battery-powered electronic watches are either analogs with the conventional face or digitals with a small window through which time is shown in number form. With watch prices ranging from as little as $3.99 to over $1,000, price will probably be your first consideration. After that, appearance, guarantees of accuracy, and ease of maintenance will no doubt also be important. When shopping for a battery-powered watch, keep in mind that you will probably have to replace the battery once a year. Batteries cost from $5 to $10. Frequency of replacement depends on the quality of the battery and also on the demands made on the watch from special features such as a calendar. When your watch needs repair, consider the cost of repairs against the value of the watch and the price of a new one. Mechanical watches can usually be repaired locally, but electronic watches, in most cases, must be returned to the manufacturer for repairs. If a watch costs more than $15 and comes with a warranty, federal law requires that the written warranty be made available to you. When shopping for a watch, you may want to compare warranties as well as price. Here are some questions to keep in mind when comparing watch warranties. What parts and repair problems are covered by the warranty and what are excluded? Who pays shipping costs if the watch must be returned to the company for repair? How long does the warranty last? Where can you get the watch repaired? What will the company do if the watch fails and it cannot be repaired? What are the conditions or the limitations of the warranty? For example, some warranties may not cover replacement of the watch crystal or the case. Be cautious about buying watches from someone who approaches you on the street. Counterfeit copies of expensive watches are often sold this way. But remember, counterfeit goods are unauthorized imitations of well-known brands, and usually of much lesser quality. If you have any questions about purchasing a watch, or we can help you with any other consumer questions or problems, please call us at the East Brunswick Consumer Affairs Office. Our office is open from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. Our telephone number is 390-6954. Thank you for joining me on Consumer Aware. Please join me again next week.
At Monday's Township Council meeting, a bond ordinance to provide partial funding for the widening of Cranberry Road was defeated by a 3-4, 2 against vote. The council, needing 4 votes to approve the ordinance, failed to do so after Louis Becker and Russell Walker expressed their concerns for spending township money on a county road. Longtime residents of Cranberry Road also attended the meeting, protesting the condemnation of the front of their property needed for the widening. Township engineer William Tanner said the county has a lot of plans on its list for road construction, and by partially funding the project, it would help to get it to the head of the class. Council members Baker, O'Connor, and Denahan agreed it would be preventive planning to approve the money and have the widening completed now before the congestion gets worse. Packing the courtroom were vendors from the Route 18 indoor market, led by attorney Alan Karcher, to protest a lease transfer of the indoor market.
There's a choice here between whether this township is going to take a posture on behalf of someone who has proven himself, Mr. Positive, proven himself by his actions last week to be spiteful and vindictive and greedy. And are you going to stand on his side and help him? That's a decision you have to make. Well, you look out here, these people, this is the American dream. These people, if you ask for a show of hands, you'd probably see that these people speak about 20 different languages. They work hard. They've come here, many first-generation Americans. This is the American dream to them, to be there at that market, eking out a living for themselves and their children. And they want to break. And you and the council have a decision to make, whether you're going to stand with the landlord or whether you're going to exercise your legitimate rights to review what happened with this lease and how it got to the position. You have a perfect right to retain counsel, to look into this, and to take action on your behalf to abrogate this contract, to have this contract declared null and void. And that would be a boon not just to these people, although they're my primary interest and my primary concern, but it would be a benefit generations of residents of East Brunswick would bless your names should you have this contract declared null. And that is why
Township Attorney Bertram Bush gave his advice to the council.
As far as I can see, this is really a dispute which has been brought on by Mr. Posner's corporation seeking an assignment of the lease from himself or his corporation to Mr. Goodbyes. And the real dispute, as far as I see it, is between Alan and all of you out there as the subtenants and Mr. Posner and his client or the corporation. My advice to the council would be to keep the dispute there. If you seem to favor the subtenants whose sympathies you may feel tonight, you may be inviting a damage suit by the present sub-lessor, which is Mr. Posner's corporation. He may say that by your frustrating his attempt to assign the lease to Mr. Goodbyes, which maybe you don't want to do, that he has lost umpteen billions of dollars. If, on the other hand, you side with Mr. Posner's corporation, you certainly are inviting a very adversary situation with Mr. Karcher and his clients. So while we have been sued and while you've authorized defense of that suit, I think, and I think perhaps you'll think, that the real dispute is these people would all like to stay there, not only through Christmas, but for whatever period they have. This is not the appropriate forum, in my opinion, to argue whether the 6-month lease should or should not have been terminated on July 31st. A judge will have to decide that. He will have to decide whether the claims are coming too late or whether they're valid, whether the lease is valid, whether or not there is waiver, and whether or not the council wants to consider this matter for the remaining 23 years, or exactly what you want to do.
The council decided to discuss the matter further in an executive meeting on August 26th. A last-minute reminder that the bridge between Church Lane and Cranberry Road on Dunhams Corner Road has been reopened to through traffic. That's all for this week. Thanks for watching.